Hi, I'm Mark from L&M Small Engine. Today we working on a John Deere 116 garden tractor. As you can see, it was leaking oil for a long time and they must have forgot to check the oil and lock the motor up. And they have like a little sentimental value to this thing and they want to try find another motor for it. So we're going to try finding the motor and getting it back running for them. So hope you enjoy the video. As you can see, all the oil and dirt on top of the deck there and on the steering rod and on the frame. Either the seal was leaking or the base gasket was leaking. It just kept on running till the poor thing ran out of oil. And that's one of them the first style of twin cylinders that Briggs has, like they called it like L head, I believe it was, or something like that. It's an oldie. But anyways, I'm gonna find the motor and we'll switch motors out on this. And probably have to change the belts because the belts are probably oil soaked and everything. So okay, got the hood off. We're gonna raise it up a little bit. That way we can get to the shrouding and the wires and stuff a little bit more easier. Get that off of there. Now we're gonna hook the choke and throttle wires. Things on there kind of tight. Well, that thing's on there tight. In fact, it broke off. Okay, now we can take this shrouding here off, like a 3/8. I was looking at this, and on these particular motors, there's a fuel pump built on the front of the carburetor, but yet they got another fuel pump on it. It's kind of puzzling to me. Because on these motors in the front of the carburetors, that's a fuel pump right here. But yet they got this external fuel pump. That's kind of weird. I power washed as the best I could, but just look at how thick that stuff is down here. The thing weighs like 5 pounds. And make sure your battery is disconnected. That's a 7/16. The charging wire. And we got our choke and throttle unhooked. So let's jack it up some more. That's our kill wire right there. I think that's like about a 3/8 or something. Okay, we got that disconnected. Now we can jack it up some more and take off the PTO clutch and the motor mount bolts. That oil is dripping off there. Unplug our clutch. Take our belt out. That belt is just soaked. We're definitely going to have to put a new belt on there. I think I'm going to lower it down a little bit and take the front of the deck off and set it on some crates. That way we can get the impact in there on that clutch bolt, but I'm sure it's not rusted or seized, all that oil on there. But I'm going to lower it down, unhook the front of the deck. I think that'll make it a lot easier and I can show you more on the camera though. Okay, now we'll take that clutch off. Yeah, sure, all this oil, the doggone thing stuck on there. I'm gonna spray some penetrating oil in here. Find the keyway. Let that soak in there a little bit. You think with all this oil, that thing would slide right off. That's what I was counting on. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes since I sprayed that freeze off stuff on there. Let's see what happens. I'm putting the pry bar between the pulley for the transmission belt and the clutch. Slowly coming off. There we go. That oil and stuff. Got to clean that up really good. When you get that oil in between the magnet and everything, that might slip a little bit. So we're gonna clean that out before we put it back on. Looks like we gotta take that belt off. And there's a hanging bracket there. We have to loosen that up so we get that belt off that pulley. I just spray some more goop on that. I don't know if you can get this stuff anymore, but it's made by K&W. This stuff works really good. It just eats up that rust. I've had this can about 10 years. It still works great, just like the day I bought it. Okay, we'll let that sit a little bit. Put a little pulley puller on here. There we go. Okay, now we can take the motor mount bolts out. I need to get an extension here. Apologize for being in the way. I jack it up just a little bit more here. Like this one's under that pulley, so we gotta take that idler pulley off so we can get to the bolt. Put that nut on there so we don't lose that spacer. There we go. And on this motor mount here, this is where the ground wires go. Okay, now we can lower down and take off the motor. Clean all that dirt and everything off there. The new motor, or not a new motor, but I bought a good used motor, one of these L-head V-twins. Okay, we're about ready to install the running motor, but I see we need to change the exhaust because this one comes out the side. It's gonna hit the side of the hood on this one, so we're gonna put the old exhaust on this motor, then the oil drains on this side over here, and on this one it's on this side here. So we're gonna switch the oil drain plugs and switch the mufflers, and they'll be ready to install. So I'll do that real quick, then we'll put that motor back in that John Deere. Well, I got the dipstick on there and stuff, and I got the spacer and the cube on there, but I can't use the muffler off the old motor because the governor assembly is different. On this one here, how it's indented in because the governor assembly sits down lower than that one there. So what I was thinking, this is bent down and out. I was thinking about cutting it, turn it 180 degrees so it's up and back so it don't hit the hood, it don't hit the frame, because the frame is about like right here and it goes up like about a ½ inch. So I was thinking about cutting it and bringing it up and out to the back. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Okay, I cut the pipe off. It was like this here, how it bends down and out, and it's gonna hit the frame rail plus the hood. It would have covered the hood, so I was thinking about bringing it up and out. Looks like about 180 degrees. I think that will work. I think that should work. So I'll get this bolted back on the motor and it should be set to go back in the lawnmower. Put these mounting bolts back in. For a simple job, it sure takes a long time. I'm going to put this shield back on. If it's going to be in the way of the hood, I'll take it off. And there's another problem I see right now too. I got to cut a little bit out here where I turned the muffler. It originally sat down here. So I'm just going to take the wire cutters, something like that out. But I'm not going to tape that. It's probably pretty boring. So I'll get that done and I'll put the bolts in for that heat panel there, and hopefully this thing will fit in that 116 John Deere here. And hopefully they'll take better care of it, won't let it run out of oil. Okay, now what I gotta do is get the bolts all lined up. So I could still catching on something here. It's getting closer to getting lined up there. Gonna have to run that fuel line back over this side here. Because on the original motor, the line went in on this side here and it goes through here, then it goes to the fuel pump. On that other motor, they had that fuel pump over here plus the one up front. I don't know what their thinking was on that. But on this back bolt here, we have them two ground wires we have to line up. There we go. Well, I think that's going to work, bending that pipe up. I can, like about a ½ inch above the frame. And I believe the hood's going to be like right here, so that's going to be good there. Cutting that pipe and turning it like that. This motor here, if I look at the code, it's a 1997, and that the motor that locked up was way older than that one. But all the bolt holes will be the same and everything. And this one's an 18.5 horse. It's a little bit bigger motor. Back bolt put it over here. There we go. I can go ahead and jack it up. Now I'm hook up this fuel line and put the fuel on and bolt up the wire to the starter back here real quick. And I can jack it up and hook everything up underneath up front. I'll grab me a 7/16 inch nut for that starter. Be a 1/4 inch bolt. 7/16 wrench will fit it. You replace motors and stuff, just start at one side and just slowly work around. Just take your time. Sometimes you might hook something up, then something will be in the way and you'll have to unhook it and work around it, but that's pretty much normal. That's normal for me anyway. Now I'm gonna cut this fuel line here. Don't need that much. The fuel filter's right here. Okay, the starter's hooked up. The fuel line is hooked up. You got the two back bolts and they're started so the motor won't slide around while we hook up the two front bolts and everything. So I'll get the light under there. And we'll hook up them two front bolts. Fat fingers in here. I'll use a magnet. Okay, that one's bolted in but not tight, so I can go ahead and raise it up a little bit more so you can see what we're doing here. Man, that oil motor leaked out a lot of oil. I ordered new belts. They should be here tomorrow. These belts are saturated with oil. See if I can grab that with the socket here. There we go. Just gotta grab the 1/2 inch wrench. Tighten this other front one here. Supposed to be a wire guard that goes around here if I put that pulley on. I thought I set it right over here. Now I gotta find a nut for that. Got the wrench on the top. One more motor mount bolt to tighten down here. Alrighty, now I can put this idler pulley on here. Just when I get this idler pulley put on, then I'll probably stop for the night and wait for the new belts to come in anyway. I don't want to get too far ahead. Just get this pulley here put on. There, I'm just gonna wait till I get the new belts before I get too carried away. So we'll continue this later. Okay, it's been a couple of days since we last worked on this and still no belts for it, but we'll finish hooking everything up to the motor. Like on the old motor, this one here, that was the kill wire. On the old motor, it had that nut on there, and on this different motor, it has one of these plug-in ones with the clip on it. We pushed it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this end off, solder that one on there, plug it in. I grabbed a different one. This one there plugs in a lot better. And you have to have a good connection on your kill wire in case something happens. You want to shut off right away. Tie these two together and we'll solder it. That way we'll have a really good connection. And it won't pull apart or nothing. That way when you turn the key off, you know the thing's going to shut off right away. Let that cool down a second. We'll put some electrical tape on that. Especially on kill wires and stuff, you can put them little clips on there and squeeze them together. But, all the vibration, everything lawnmowers have and everything, it's best just to solder it. And that's never going to come off. And it clips into place, you're going to have a good connection. So there, we got the kill wire done. Now we got to hook up the choke and the throttle. So we'll grab our cables over here. This one here's our choke. And that goes up over here. Make sure your choke push button is all the way pushed in. And when you pull it out, now our throttle cable, make sure it works freely. And that goes down here. Got a pair of needle nose. My rod's kind of bent a little bit on here. There we go. Okay, let's see if it starts here. Go and pull the choke out. Well, that runs really nice for a 1997 engine. So I'll go ahead and we'll put the hood on next, and I guess they'll be done until we get some belts for it. Boy, that's a nice running motor. Okay, here. All right, we brought some life back into this old John Deere 116 tractor here. So anyways, hope you liked the video. I appreciate you watching, and you guys have a good afternoon. Bye.